Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, a show chocked full of strategies for scaling your speaking business. Now here's your host, coach to the industry superstars, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I came across my next guest again during the best video contest that we ran recently. And I was reminded of her and she impacted me. And I thought, okay, we need to talk to her about bringing your full self, including your energy, to the platform. Welcome to the podcast, Pegine Echevarria. Now, let me make sure your last name, I pronounced it correctly. Is it Echevarria?
No, it's so think of it as Echevarria. No, you're Echevarria, but here's how to do it. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, the Nina, the Pinta, and Echevarria.
Echevarria. Okay, I even went online and did that, how do you pronounce thing? And that's what it told me. And I thought, oh, I can totally do that. And then I blew it. So I apologize, Pegine.
No apologies. My job, I think that you just landed on something really important. For everybody, because people have names. I learned many years ago in this business, my job is to be memorable. And so if I have a difficult first name as Pegine and I have a difficult last name of Echevarria, they won't remember my name at all. So except for corporate loves to have my last name, I dropped the last name and I only use my first name, Pegine.
Okay, so that's a part of the brand. It's just one
word. It is totally part of the brand.
Like share.
Exactly. My intro says, she goes by her first name. If it's good enough for Oprah, Shakira, Cher, it's good enough for me.
Okay, that's perfect. I love it. Now, speaking of your introduction, I was reading through some of the bio that you sent over, and I went, wait a second, there's something about Pegine that I did not know. I've not ever known your backstory. So let's start in the Bronx and tell us about young Pegine. What on earth were you getting up to and at what age?
So the backstory is, I grew up in the Bronx. I was raised ultimately by a single mom who was a school teacher. And then, she became a school teacher because my dad was a drunk and couldn't hold a job. And so anyway, she became a school teacher and moved up ranks. She became the highest ranking woman in the New York City Board of Ed, which meant that she was extremely busy. And we lived in the Bronx. We lived with my grandmother. We lived upstairs, my cousins downstairs, and I was an angry kid. My father left. My mom kicked him out, but then we were seeing him every other week. Then when I was 12, he just said, "I love you," never showed up again. My sister was a heroin addict and was a local prostitute. And so there was a lot of stuff going on in my life. And so I became two things. I became an angry kid, lost, but I also, I adopted a personality that was called, everybody in the neighborhoods called me La Loca, because my school was very dangerous and people fought all the time. Yeah. So the way to not get into a fight was for me to bring out a part of me that everybody knew in my family. Like I'm really enthusiastic. I'm really like out there. And so I would walk up the stairs and I would know that somebody wanted to start a fight. So the first day I'd walk on, I go, "Come on, bring it on. You think you're going to get," and so the people would run because they would like, "Oh my God, who is she?" But you can't do that all the time because then somebody's going to challenge you.
Okay.
So then other times I would walk up the stairs and I turn around and I go, "The sun will come out tomorrow." And so I'd have this person and they would go, "Girl, that girl is whack." So I got the nickname called La Loca.
La Loca. Crazy, right?
The crazy one, right?
Yeah.
Which got me like this reputation that don't mess with her.
Okay. I'll take it. Yeah.
Which was fine because it was also protected me, right? It watched over me.
Yes.
And I got recruited into a local gang because in my time there, kind of that's what you did. And at the same time, my mom didn't want me to suffer, didn't want me to go down the path that my sister had gone on.
Mm-hmm.
And so she signed me up for Girl Scouts.
Okay, so
So
you're a part of a gang and a part of
and
Girl
Girl Scouts,
Scouts
yeah, I did
at
both
the
at the same
same
time.
time. How old were you?
I was 14. 14.
14.
The Girl Scout leader was someone that called. Her name is Miss, I don't remember her last name. We just know her Mrs. B. She had called the local Girl Scout council in the Bronx and had said, I'm looking for tough girls for my troop. I don't
Oh,
want nice girls. I want tough girls. That
okay.
same day was when my mom called the council to say, my daughter is tough and we need something. So
Yeah.
Mrs. B started a Girl Scout troop. Mrs. B was from Wall Street. She was a single woman in Wall Street with this beehive hairdo. And there were three of us in the room. All of us were in different gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And Mrs. B had come in and said, girls, I'm not your typical Girl Scout leader.
She's smoking.
We're not going to do Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
We're not going to do arts and crafts.
Okay.
And she kept us smoking in the church, which, like, who smokes in the church? And then she said, but what we're going to do is I'm going to take you down every Wednesday to Wall Street. We're going to take the train down to, and we're going to stop and talk to every woman that's a power player in Wall Street. Now, this was back in
Mm.
the 70s. And we're going to stop them. We're going to ask them, because you think you're tough, you don't know what tough women really are.
Oh.
And so I had a year with Mrs. B of, we met, she would stop women on the street that were put together. I mean, they were, but they were, you could tell they were tough, but they were,
Yeah.
stop, tell them what you did, tell them what life's really like, tell them what it's like to be a woman in corporate America. Go ahead, tell them. And here we three kids, we're trying to look tough,
Yeah.
but we think that our Mrs. B was crazy. I mean, really did.
Yeah.
But those two things of being in the gang and knowing how to protect myself and being with her gave me this hope, this image of, she saw something in us
Mm-hmm.
that nobody else had addressed. Fast forward at 17, I was still in the gang. I was on the corner and I was in front of Jack's Candy Store. And I was standing there, and Jane, the thought went through my head of, what am I doing here?
Mm.
Why am I here? Why am I here with these people? I don't even like these people. Why am I here?
Right.
And I said, so what am I supposed to do? And I literally had a vision, an impression of me older on a TV, just like we're talking, like it was, I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea what it meant. I just knew you got to leave now. And I literally went home, took 5 countries, um, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and I can't even remember the last one. Italy, France, I'll remember it later on. And I really wanted to go to Spain because my family was Hispanic, but I couldn't really speak Spanish well.
Okay.
And so I went to Spain, and I went to Spain when I was 17 and a half. And I lived there for 3 years, and I opened the first bilingual nursery school while I was there. And then Spain was very rigid because it was under a dictatorship,
Mm-hmm.
but then he died. And so it became a democracy like overnight. And everybody wanted to be a hippie. So I sewed at nighttime skirts, like the hippie skirts, the
Mm-hmm.
layer skirts, and I sold
Okay.
them. Nobody had ever seen them. I went to a flea market, I sold out of them. And then the biggest department store bought my pattern, which was so funny because I didn't have a pattern. I made it up with a piece of paper, but it was a #1 hit skirt in Spain that year.
Wow. You have
So
quite the colorful background.
yeah, it's I love my life. And when I came back from the States, I worked for Pierre Cardin Menswear
Okay.
as a receptionist. Uh, Someone had introduced me to the magazine Success Magazine
Mm-hmm.
back then, and I wanted to be a CEO. I was going to be there, but I was a receptionist. And I did a lot of antics, and I ended up getting promoted, and I became through a bunch of years, I became the national sales manager for Pierre Cardin Menswear, and I became director of operations for a company called Above the Belt Street Scenes, which is remember Bill Cosby used to wear those beautiful sweaters?
Mm-hmm.
My company produced those sweaters. So I was the Latin American salesperson and the salesperson, national sales director and operations there. And then I became president of a direct selling company, and then and then my CEO at that point said, if we close down tomorrow, what would you do? And I went, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to school for my master's in social work. I don't know why I said that, because I had no idea what a social worker was. I just became fascinated about how organizations helped or hindered women to move up rank, and how women helped and hindered themselves.
And you got your education at 14 on Wall Street talking to women,
The
and
line goes through.
thanks to Mrs. B. And here you
Yeah,
are. Let's fast forward to today, where what are you out there doing? You're helping women be empowered. Like
that's right.
that is so like from 14, I don't know how old you are, but from 14 until today, this was the path.
This was the path. And I didn't know it. I mean, I had no idea,
Hmm.
none. Um, now I work with major organizations that want their women leaders to be their highest, most productive self. So I work with people like General Motors and Walmart. We've run large scale situational training exercises, which are
Wonderful.
with role players, so that women can practice the skill sets they need when they're presidents of Walmart, when they're at high levels. How do we be strategic? So it's really funny to say, yes, the line goes right through,
I can see the
and
path.
you'll appreciate this.
Hmm.
When I was national sales manager, when I was president of direct sales company, of course we had conferences, of course we had speakers.
Hmm.
It never dawned on me in a million years. I mean, it was so out of my, I, I didn't realize that we were hiring these people. I didn't, like, it wasn't, because I just give them the budget, and the planner does it, right?
Right.
But it never dawned on me that that was an industry. Sorry, that was an industry. It just never dawned on me. And it wasn't until I went for my master's, and I met, and I was, talk shows started. I ran a youth center for girls and
Hmm.
gangs, which caught the eye of the mayor and the governor and some Congress people,
Okay.
which led to Montel Williams. Montel Williams invited me on his show and all my girls,
Hmm.
and I was on his show for 32 times.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know about promotion. I didn't know. I was just doing my job. I
Yeah.
was just I was in my realm. He won his first Emmy with a moment with me when he was talking so much, Jane. I mean, he just wouldn't shut up. And I went, Montel, would you please shut up so I could do my work? And he was like, oh, well, that was his first Emmy.
Ah.
And then he had me 32 times, and he's the one that pulled me aside in the green room after like 10 or 15 times on the show. And he said, you need to be out there speaking. Nobody talks like you. Nobody acts like you. And I said, Montel, I don't know what you're talking about. I
What
have
do you mean?
what? And he said, well, that's how I got my talk show. I was a motivational speaker, and I spoke all over the country after being in the Navy. That's what I did. And I did it for the Navy. And I went, oh, I still
Mm.
don't know what you're talking about. And so he's the one that actually paid for me to go into National Speakers Association. He also paid for me to be in the AFTRA, the Actors Union, to be paid
Really?
as an expert, because he says, you're doing this for free. You could get paid. I was like,
Huh?
oh. What he
Nice.
never told me is that I got paid for years and years on reruns.
Yes.
I never knew that. So anyway, that's how I got into speaking.
Okay.
Was
Now, I just want to back up to make sure people understand. You were a guest 30 some odd times on his show, and when you
right.
registered for the union, that's when they started paying you.
Correct.
residuals for the show.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Just
Right.
didn't want to make
Exactly.
sure that wasn't lost.
Yeah, exactly. So people have to be aware.
Yeah.
You don't get paid when you're an uh, you don't get paid when you're an expert on a TV talk show or on the
Mm-hmm.
news.
Right.
If you're a union member and you're hired as an expert, they have to then pay you.
Hmm.
So you get paid. Now don't go all running home that you think this is a big thing, but I would get paid $600 per show.
Okay.
And every time it repeated throughout the world, I would get paid. A check would show up.
Amazing.
And that went on for a good 20 years.
I love
Uh,
that.
but but then you also, once they know that they have to pay you, they don't call you as much
As much. Okay.
unless
Free
you're
one.
really, really good. You got to be able to draw viewers.
Give me a snapshot of your career today. Compare this year that we're in 2026, early in the year, to last year at this time, and just kind of give me a snapshot. I can see you're doing like some really big, kind of long term, and we're going to talk about maybe diversifying and doing some things other than this, the keynote one off. Um, Give us a snapshot of how you think business is going for you, but also kind of like how many times are you out speaking every year? I just want people to kind of understand
Okay.
where you're coming
Yeah,
from.
really great question. Super great question. So my business is very diversified. Um, and so having spoken a long time and being in the business a long time, my biggest desire was to have recurring income coming in,
Yes, yes.
because we run what I call a lumpy business. So a lumpy business is you get lump sums that, at different times. So you have to, since you have a lumpy business, you have to look at, from a finance and a cash flow perspective, of how do I manage the lumpiness
Yeah,
of it.
I had a great April, but I didn't speak again until,
Right.
July or something.
You, you,
That
you
can
just
be
don't
hard.
know. And what people don't really, the speaking business, it's you're selling yourself for the gig, right? You're selling
Mhm.
yourself for this piece, and so you want to look at. So for my own business, so my speaking business, I do about 15 to 25 a year.
Okay.
um, what I try to do, what I work on doing, is creating large scale contracts where I can go in and I could speak for 24 times,
Mm-hmm.
and get paid a mid, I mean, okay, I could talk about it. So I get paid $250,000 a year for my long-term contracts, which
Okay.
include, it'll include anywhere between 15 to 23 speak engagements, but they're not like speak engagements that people would normally think of, like being on a big stage. I
Yeah.
might be speaking to 20 people.
Right. Could
I
it be
don't care.
also be virtual, live and virtual?
Oh yeah, it could be virtual. Yeah, all of that is included.
Yeah.
And then I limit it to, I'll coach 10 of their people, usually senior
Nice.
executives.
Okay.
Um, and
Are
I
you
and I
coaching only women or everybody?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm hired by companies who might, like, one of my recent clients is, I'll be hired by a company who has a very female dominant division. So for
Mm-hmm.
instance, it might be in PR communications and marketing, which tends to be a very high dominant female division.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they have challenges with their leaders. There's mean girl syndrome.
Yeah.
Um, there's women that make up rules in their head. Women tend to do that a lot. Make up
Mm-hmm.
rules about how things work, and it really isn't, like, you just made that up.
Yeah.
Just You could go into the office and you can ask and demand stuff. Don't You don't have to be a good girl. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
brought in because the company is usually and almost always hired by a male. I'm always hired by a CEO. I'm always almost hired by a CMO, chief marketing officer. I'm hired by somebody in the C-suite who has noticed that there's an issue, and they their coaches that they've had just honestly aren't in their face and
Mhm.
are I'm
So
kind of a bulldog.
you show up New York, the Bronx,
That's
every,
right. That's
right?
right.
And
That's
you're saying, okay, here's what I'm witnessing, and here's how to fix it. And so, is there kind of like one problem that you would say you come across again and again and again? One problem that you're solving?
so the absolute one problem is from an organizational perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
From an organizational part perspective is they know they had these brilliant, amazing, incredible geniuses on their
Mm-hmm.
team who hold themselves back and don't speak.
Okay.
Don't speak up, don't show up, and honestly have been trained through society that there's all these barriers for them to do that, social bias. Oh, they ghosting me, or gaslighting me, or all this stuff, right?
Hmm.
I teach the techniques of
Let's just
I'm
break through all that.
just don't take the crap.
Yeah.
This is
You can say
you have
bullshit on this
power.
show. I'm okay with it.
Oh, good. I was going to be. I was because I really had this desire to write this book called "Girls Just Say Fuck," because I think that there's a freedom that comes from when you can release that,
And
and
and a
honestly,
part of it is seizing your power. And let's just really note that you're not saying it gratuitously. You're saying it for a very specific intention and purpose. And to what you said, based on what I heard was you're helping women embrace their power and step into their fullest beings and in an organization within an organization. And I think that is just amazing work that you're doing out there, Pegine. Like, think about all of the impact that you're going to have with more women sitting at the boardroom table and more women
absolutely,
speaking up and defending themselves and more women saying, no, 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 that's not okay.
that's
What
right.
just happened right there. We often get in our own ways, don't we? And like you said, something about the mindset. The thought is, oh, I better not, or else this will happen, or whatever it might be. We do
We
get in our.
project of our future. I mean, it's part of our brain, right? How it's been developed, that
Mm-hmm.
we've been trained to look for danger, danger, danger up ahead,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
We've been trained to do that. So the issue comes in is if I'm trained to see danger, 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 then I'm holding myself back. Because I don't want to have danger, right? So I'm going to hold myself back. I'm not going to go in to say, I'm the best badass salesperson you have ever seen. Move out of my way because
Yeah.
I can sell anything. That we don't get trained that I'm going to succeed. I'm going to make that money that I want to make. I'm going to make that money because I know I can.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
that is a word. That kind of energy is not what society has trained women to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that we have to come in with angry face. We have to be a bitch about it. No, we don't.
Yeah.
What we have to do is just own ourselves. So I can't change people, places, things, and situations. And I tell people all the time, I can only change myself. And so my mission is to give women the tools
Yeah.
to build within the sense that they can accomplish and do what they want, how they want it with joy.
Mm-hmm. And if you're listening and you don't identify with the labels that we're talking about, women, men, etc., I want you to know that a lot of these same issues apply to non-binary people,
Absolutely.
etc. Let's just ask the question though, what could a man do? Let's say we're talking to all the men of the speaking world. And
Mm.
obviously, they're out to get the business that they can get. And But what's something that you tell corporate leaders that they can do to support women? I think it's a part of it is an awareness thing of how often we talk over each other, whatever genders we're talking about. I think we often interrupt and talk over people, but I think sometimes men do that to women perhaps a little bit more. So give me some things like that
So,
that
so a lot of things that men are doing what they've been trained to do.
Mhm.
That what we as women go into, sometimes we think they're being doing it to us.
Mhm.
No, they're not
Not, they're
doing
just
it to
being.
us. They're just being. They're
Yes.
just being. And except if they're being, saying nasty things and being
Aggressive. Yes.
and being aggressive and all that, then
All
women
bets
have
are off.
best. I always tell everybody, I have a baseball bat. Don't mess with me. And that's
Yes.
the aura I want. Right? When a woman has a don't mess with me, they're too afraid to mess with you.
Okay.
And so to go back for men, so I think that we are all in partnership, right? The
Mhm.
fact that we've become to a space where when men and women are working together really effectively, there is magic that occurs. There's I meet so many people that will say she's my work wife or he's my work, and they've really created a
Mhm.
synergy
Yes.
that has been able to make that team so powerful, so effective. They've strengthened their sense of self because they've learned how to build a really effective partnership. If I got your back, you've got mine back. We're going and going to take the mission of whatever our team is, and we're going to achieve massive success.
Yeah.
As a speaker, so here's one of the challenges, and this, I mean, I'm going to tell the world right now, there's a major, and this is happening many times. I counter it my probably 10 times in the last 6 months. A
Okay.
major, very, very well known. Oh, if speakers could get on these stages, oh, they would be like, yay! I can't mention the company, but
Okay.
this is like getting a big star. I could be on there. They just
Mhm.
fired all their speaker bureaus. They have decided they don't want to use speaker bureaus because the bureaus kept on that they've worked with over the years, even though they've been educated, kept on sending them only guys.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times they said, have you looked? You haven't done and kept involved with us as a company to
Yeah.
see who the people that are coming to our conferences,
Yeah.
they've changed.
Yeah.
They're
It
now,
I,
and so
I
what's
hear
happened is,
that. That's very, very interesting. And back from the moment I got into this business, probably 35 plus years ago, kind of middle-aged white guys were the ones getting all of the bookings, and then the pie started to shift and shift and shift and shift, and now the audiences just look really, really different. So what that means to that particular demographic is that now you're the one that will probably have to be working harder to get your business than you did before. And but I really give that message to anybody who is rolling through my world, because the business is just tough and we all need to work. We all need to get down and have real intentional and focused hustle. That's just the nature of the beast these days.
I'm so glad that you just said what you said, because I think that people that come to, I'm going to be a speaker, somehow have the impression that this is probably the toughest business I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you've been
And
in a
it's
lot of businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a tough business because you're selling concepts, you're selling yourself,
Yourself, your ideas.
and if you can't separate yourself from yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if I can't separate the persona
Mm-hmm.
from my person,
Yes.
I would have a really hard time selling, right? Because
If you don't get the job, are you just totally floored and offended? You gotta take your ego out of the
Got it.
situation and say, okay, this wasn't exactly the right fit that time. I said to you privately during our video contest, I did have one speaker come back to me who was really mad that he didn't get on the short list. And I'm like, sorry, dude, there was just a lot of really good videos this year. What am I going to say? But I came to you and said, I really liked your video. We just didn't have, room in the top, whatever, to put you in there. And you didn't take that poorly at all. But I want to circle back to an idea that I kind of just recently learned on a manifesting course that I'm doing right now. It's the 80-20 rule, but shook up a little bit. 80% is the mindset, 20% is the action. And
That's
so
right.
we've got to have, and I've always said, we've got to have consistent action. But if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have flipped it around and said it's 80% action, 20% mindset. It's just, we really need to stand tall in who we are and what we bring to the table. And it is a game of focused hustle at this point, very intentional focused hustle.
It is so intentional. So there are three things that I know for sure. And I mean, I'll get people calling me up, conferences, can you refer speakers, right? And I know a lot of speakers, but when I'm asking for information, speakers don't realize how many people I will drop. I just won't even respond. So because in this business, first it's about how fast and quick are you to respond,
Yeah, that's
right?
huge. Yep.
How fast you have to know yourself and who your market is, what your niche is and stuff. I don't know where people are getting that they should be asking all these questions. But until they're signing a contract on you, I don't. You're supposed to be selling me and inspiring me, making me feel like you're so magnetic and charismatic. I can't help but have you. I don't need you to be interrogating me. Who's in the audience and where? Do your freaking research.
Mhm.
Go online. Go on
AI is a
LinkedIn.
beautiful
Find.
thing. You could come to the table like half cooked in terms of what you know about this organization and the industry and ask some clarifying questions. So you're
Well, but
saying
what
as a
you have to
decision
do. So
maker, let me just make sure I'm understanding you, Pegine. You're saying as a decision maker, you don't necessarily want to be interviewed
no, not at
for
all.
you to get the job, but that's an interesting approach. Okay, so give me your sales methodology then instead of
So,
that.
let me just explain for it. So
Yeah.
imagine you have a plumbing issue. Okay. Now you're going to call 3 plumbers to come to your house. You have one plumber that wants to sit down with you, wants to talk to you about your plumbing issues. When did you buy the house? A plumbing. Do you care about this? Don't you get impatient? You're
Yeah.
like, you already know that they're prepping you for a big price,
Yeah.
but they're all talk. They learned some lesson that they're supposed to do that. Then you have the plumber that comes in and says, "Show me the pipes. Show me where it is," and goes, "All right, da 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 da." And he goes, "This is what it costs," and he's going to leave. Then you have the other guy that comes in and looks at it and goes, "Hmm, hmm. I, I've been in a house like this before. I know the pipe looks like it was redone by this. So you have a week, blah, blah, blah over here. This is
Ah,
how I would do it.
little
This is where I'm coming
diagnosis.
in."
Yeah.
So we go to the third guy because
Mm-hmm.
we know he just showed his expertise. He
Yeah.
showed
Okay. I like how
he
you
showed
framed
us,
that.
he's showing us that he understands the history of what he's seeing. He actually is saying
Yeah.
without selling, without pressuring me, without
Yeah.
anything. And he's making it my choice. So now you call me up. You're going to be a speaker. I have an opportunity to send me your stuff. They'll either send me the stuff And then they start asking me questions, which the moment that happens, I am freaking busy. I do not have time for this.
Do your
This is
research. This is
do your
available
research.
online.
Right.
Okay, you're really hitting on
Number
something important now, Pegine.
number two is do not, you better be who you are going to be on stage.
Mm,
Because what happens is sometimes we get the sales you, the educated you,
yeah.
that we're going to talk about that, both of which I never want to see on stage. I want to know who you are on stage the
Hmm.
moment I'm on the phone with you.
Okay, that's really interesting. I really liked the plumber who gave the diagnosis. So if you come in asking some questions to clarify what you think the needs might be, I think and I what I'm hearing you say is do your homework before you arrive. And in a world of AI, for you not to be prepared and know the industry is shameful right at this
Right,
point in
right. I mean,
time.
when I'm
Calling and
online,
asking, well, what exactly are medical equipment resellers? No, 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 no. If you don't know that before you get on the call, Houston, we have a problem.
when I'm going in on a call, let's say, bureau has referred me, or a client has I go in and do the research, and then I always open, so I can talk to you like this, and I'd be going, Jane, that's really fascinating about what you're saying. And I'm doing, uh, okay, Jane, wow, that's really amazing. One of the things that I was fascinated when I was talking to you, Jane, I really like how you were just talking about this thing that you talk about the hustle. To whom and what are you devoted to?
Mm.
You had this really sweet spot where you were saying, to whom and what do you devoted for? I really love what you were saying about that. Boy, I love your grandkids, how cute that they are with your husband holding it. That's adorable. So notice that
You're on
I'm
my About Us page. I just want everybody to know that. She's going through my scroll and she's understanding that's my language. Who and what are you devoted to? She's looking at the pictures. This is great. I get
so
it.
I'm looking and I'm talking to people so that if I speak to a corporate client, right, they usually don't have like a they don't have any social media out there in the same way that we as speakers would. But I'll go to LinkedIn and I'm going to
Oh, for
look at that,
sure.
and then I'll find out. But I don't just do that. I'll say, okay, I'm going in, and then I look what the college and university is. So then I'll write their name at the college and university, and I go, oh my gosh, you were the track person. That was it. Well,
Uh,
how did you know that?
yeah.
Well, I'm doing my research.
What you're telling me is that you're doing the time consuming things that somebody who wants to send 100 emails a day isn't going to do. And I want to say it
Oh
pays
my
off.
God,
It,
up with 100 emails.
it always pays off. Okay. Let us shift gears onto one of your strategies. This is about you kind of showing up fully and authentically you. One of your strategies is networking events.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you what do you set your intention on when you decide, and how many a month are you doing? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay. So, so networking. So in the speaking industry,
Mm-hmm.
you have a choice to go wide or to go deep.
Yes.
So you have a choice to go, I'm going to go into, let's keep plumbing going. We're talking about plumbers. We have the choice to go, I'm going to talk to plumbers. My grandfather was a plumber. I know plumbing. I'm going to go into the plumbing industry, which means that now you're going to go and get involved. We would love to a group of plumbers. What happens the most time is that people just go, I'd love to have a plumber, and they might call the association of plumbers and pitch, hey, I can come and talk to you, which sounds good, but even
Mm.
if you get selected, that's
Yeah.
one gig. See ya. So long. You're not
Mhm.
having any more gigs within that plumbing industry, which
Right.
is a shame because they loved you. They loved your story. They loved that you were talking about your dad. They understood who you are. This is great. What people don't do, well, smart speakers do, is all right, I'm going to get involved with the plumbing industry. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to join the association.
Yep. You're going to
Let's say
be
you
a
got booked in the
member, an
association.
active member, not just a passive member.
Oh,
Am I right?
oh, an active member, but here's where you to become an active member. You're not going to be active at the chapter level. You're not going to be active in terms of showing. You are going to find the volunteer positions at the highest level, because I'm always looking for volunteers, in the highest positions in the area of your expertise.
Mm,
So let's say you're a leadership speaker, you're going to find in the, I don't even know if there's I'll call it the American Plumbing Association,
yes.
right?
The
They're going to have a
APA.
committee. Yeah, they're going to have a committee, right? They're going to have a committee there that says where the leadership development or the professional development committee.
Yeah.
Then you're going to say, oh, I'm an expert in this. I'm volunteering myself to be on that committee. Here's my
Nice.
background. Here's the thing I would love to be in. They go, oh, this is great. Thank you so much. And you go in and you're like, what am I doing? I'm not getting paid for doing this. But now you're with the players of the
Mm-hmm.
association, who not only are players within their association, they're players in their community, they're
Yeah.
players in all the stuff because they've led. And then number two, really important. Now you're in this APA, American Plumbers Association. You're on the leadership committee. You go find who their PR people are, and you go speak, because now you're on the committee. You tell the PR people, I am willing, if you ever get calls and you need somebody to talk to press about the plumbing association, or you want some
Mm.
leadership things, I'm happy to comply with you and help you out.
Spokesperson. Yeah.
I'll be your spokesperson. I'll be interview. I'll give you things. And by the way, if you want any articles, just let me know. I'll be happy to supply articles. Oh, you would? Yes, I would. Would you be? Oh, can we interview you? Yes, we can. Oh, you will? Yes, I will. So now your name is out there.
Yeah.
You're getting free publicity with street cred.
Mm-hmm.
That you couldn't get that street cred on your own if you tried. And now you're becoming an influencer within the plumbing association, which then goes to, oh, plumbing association. Now the plumbing association. Oh, wait, have you met her? Jane, have you met Jane? She's amazing. She's on our committee. She is. Oh, yeah, you're the guys you're the steel community that gives us the steel pipes. You should bring her in because she's really good and she's really smart. She's been writing articles for us everywhere. And now suddenly you start building a niche that is strong. Now I tell people, spend 5 years in an association.
Okay. That's good advice.
Spend five, because it takes that time to
Build.
nurture the relationships, to be
Yeah.
committed to it, and then you could go out. So I went from certainly HR. I was very involved with SHRM. I was
Mm-hmm.
I was on their head of workforce development and all that committee. I was on their magazine. I was always interviewed tons in HR, tons and SHRM. And then, so that was good. Got that plate going. You have to remember something, Jane. This business is like we are wearing, I always tell people, it's like we're wearing sequin gowns and used to be a show named Ed Sullivan. And they used to have this woman come on with a shimmering gown, and she had plates, and the plates
Spinning
would be on a
plates. Yeah.
stick, and she'd spin the stick, right? And when she wouldn't move to the next plate until that stick, that plate was swirling and swirling, and then she could put another stick up. Well, that's what we're doing in business. I'm wearing a sequin gown with big red lips. I have one. I'm going like this. So I've done that. Payroll. I'm in payroll. Payroll. I speak tons of payroll. Very involved with the American Payroll Association. Well, now it's
I was just going to
payroll.org.
give Dan Maddox a shout out because we were saying APA, which is really
Yeah,
American
that's what,
Payroll
now it's
Association.
payroll.org. So with payroll.org, so I write songs, right? When they
Ah.
changed their name, I wrote a song for them,
Ah.
uh, and produced it, and hired a band and did it and sent it to them, because when they said to me, "Oh, we're changing the organization to payroll, and the nickname is going to be Payo," I went, Payo, Payo, Payo. Payo comes and we gotta go. So I created a video for them and all that stuff.
Ah.
So
Love
Patricia
it.
Fripp and I are the only speakers to ever win Friends of the Payroll Association.
Ah, that's lovely. And they do hire a lot of speakers.
Tons, tons. So that's what I'm saying in terms of
Okay.
networking.
Networking. I love it. I love it. I think I could talk to you for another hour, Pegine, but let me give you a final question here. If you're looking back, how many years have you been in this business?
Several decades.
Okay, so if you're looking back to decade number one, kind of
Mm.
early days, first 6 months, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh,
Like, were
know that
you
you
your
were,
most authentic self when you arrived on the scene? The
no,
thing that I saw in your
no.
video was how much energy you gave on the stage, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's interesting. Was that you in the beginning?
So that was me on TV talk shows, right?
Okay.
Which got Montel in, and then he got me with a bureau that booked me for speaking. Remember, I had no idea what speaking was.
Yeah.
None. I didn't know rules. I knew nothing, nothing. So I was just myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started getting around professional speakers
Mm-hmm.
that my head got all messed up. It,
Ah.
that's when I got my head like it was horrible, Jane. It was
They say
like
don't do this, don't do that,
they
don't
said,
that.
"Oh, don't do
Basically,
this.
don't be yourself.
Yeah, don't be loud. You shouldn't wear that stuff.
Mm.
You shouldn't put yourself out like that. Oh, don't wear leather." And oh my gosh, don't wear leather. Don't
Yeah.
wear. You should be speaking absolutely perfectly like this all the time. When I can't
You
do
know,
it. I
I
can't do
want
it.
more Bronx. I actually want more Bronx from you. So I
So
think
so
that,
that and then number two. I mean, this is a true story. I come from a background of sales, right?
mm-hmm,
So I was selling myself at a nice fee.
mm-hmm.
It takes I didn't know that I shouldn't sell myself at that fee.
Okay.
And then I had three different speakers call me up, men, who said, "How dare you charge that? How dare you charge that amount of money? You haven't earned the right. You haven't." And three different speakers.
Wow.
And
How
so
dare they? How,
oh well, so my head was
oh my,
like
wow.
what was going on, and what was that? What? Um, and I'm so grateful that I shed that, right? I'm so grateful for that shed it because
Oh,
it did.
okay.
This
So,
did. You said it a minute. You said in the beginning, and I can't stress it enough. This is a mind business.
mm,
You have to believe in yourself,
yeah.
and you've got to own your true authenticity, because people, I think, out of being kind, or they're trying to help you, are going to try to take away from you what is your most
Mm.
precious authentic self. Not
That's so
because
interesting.
not because they want to harm you, but because they're actually repeating the same lessons that they've learned,
Yeah. And
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 they
and oh boy, as a coach, have I ever had to shed some of my ideas? And I've learned never estimate how hard somebody's going to work. If they say they're going to do it and they've done things in the past, then who are you to get in their way?
right.
I had a client named Jenny Lopez, Hispanic, beautiful Hispanic woman, and she loves to dress and dance. And internally, I had this debate, and I thought, is that going to fly in corporate? Is that outfit going to fly in corporate? Today, of course, that's who she is. She's talking about authenticity. It's the perfect fit. And she's
Right.
going into corporate saying, be you. And so that is exactly the message that people need to get. So she needs to be herself. And so a lot of this old doctrine and we're trying as an industry to just shed it all.
Right.
Because guess what, people? All bets are off.
Oh, it totally. I just spent. So we have two things to say about that. General Motors had asked me to do a video course, They loved me. They were a long-term client. I would do anything between 5 to 20 speeches for them a year, full
Mm-hmm.
fee. And can you do a course? Great. So we built the studio, and I had the course outline, and I had watched everybody teaching about how to do a course like this. So I had my most corporate suit on, and I even had my hair like this flippy thing going on. And I was talking like this as I was
Oh
talking.
no.
This is what it should sound like. And if you would just do these 3 tips here, here, and here. So I did this. I mean, we did all of it. All
Oh
of it. Took a lot of time.
no.
And I sent it to my GM people saying, I'm so excited. It's all ready to go.
They
And the
said
director called me up and she said, What is that?
that's not you.
She said, what is that? I said, oh, it's the LMS to educate your corporate women on it. She says, who is that?
Yeah.
That's like, so she says, you didn't have one moment where you went, and you know what, because you can't curse there, right? So I would be like, well,
Yeah.
you didn't have one of those. And so they didn't buy it after I had
Yeah.
spent all this money on this. But I think that was so revealing to me
Yeah.
that who I am is what they want. Who they want
Mm-hmm.
is they want truth. They want your energy. They want your passion. They want your enthusiasm. They
Yeah.
want your insight, your wisdom as you know it. I tell everybody, people have said to me, aren't you afraid of people stealing your stuff? Like you post your
Mm-hmm.
speech on you. Aren't you afraid of people stealing your stuff?
Yep.
First, I've had stuff stolen. Once you've had stuff
Me
stolen,
too.
a lot of times you go,
Yeah.
all right, like big whoop,
Yeah.
bless you. May you make a ton of money about that and then tell me how you did that because just I'll bless you.
Yeah.
But number 2 is nobody in the universe can be me, just as nobody in the universe
Yeah.
can be you. We
And
can have the same script, but how you do it and how I do it are 2 different things.
that is a perfect soundbite for us to close on. Now, Pegine, if people want to get in touch with you, what is your favorite mode of connection? Do you like LinkedIn? Where do you hang out?
I'm hanging out. I hang out all over the place, but you definitely go to LinkedIn, but also reach out to me. It's Pegine at Team Pegine. Just go PEGINE at
Okay.
teampegine.com. If you want, if you're, Jane is an amazing, amazing coach. I run a coach program for women speakers. A mastermind to work through the spider web
Mindset.
and the mindset stuff going in.
Nice.
But it's only so I don't work with new speakers.
Okay.
I only work with speakers who have been in business 5 years and
Okay.
longer. But anyway, just reach out to me. I'm everywhere,
Okay.
right? PEGINE in Google, and you'll find me. Reach
All
out to
right.
me. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much for bringing your energy to our program today. I'm thinking people went through and pluck that nugget, pluck that nugget, pluck that nugget. Thank you very much, Pegine. I appreciate you being here with us, and those of you listening in, I appreciate you too. And with that, we're going to say, see you soon, wealthy speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help scaling your speaking business, head over to speakerlauncher.com and chat with us.